So I'm live, everything is running, everything is cool, and let's get this started. So, okay, let me share my screen with you fellas. Your entire screen, and here we are. So what programs do you guys use to edit, guys? Let's start. Pro Tools?
Ableton and Pro Tools, yeah.
Ableton and Pro Tools. And Ruja, like, I think that you have I think that the universe is giving you an opportunity to rectify, to change your mind, to find the correct path of the Lord, you know, and to forget about Ableton as a program to edit, because I really don't believe that you can do all the things I'm gonna do here today with Ableton. You will
I'll try.
It would be awesome, and it would be awesome, and it would be awesome if you show us how you do it.
Okay.
It would be awesome.
I'll try my best, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is what we got. This is a typical situation here. So I got drums, bass, and guitars. By the way, notice that there are these kusocheks on the right that are just little pieces of, you know, the drummer was like failing in some particular, you know, moment, and then we had to get him to play this moment like a million times. Whatever, like some isolated pieces. So we're going to talk about kind of like, how do I approach to this? How do I compile things? What do I do when there's a problem? How do I fix those problems? You know, how do I treat playlists? And this is where I think that Pro Tools is king, you know, and what do I do with that? And yeah, just like pretty much all around it. I'm going to be editing this as if you are my clients, and I'm going to be explaining everything I say. But before I go, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. Like, do you remember I once discussed something with you in the class, which was like, why do we edit perfectly? Do you remember that conversation?
To be honest, no.
And you all guys remember that conversation?
Not really.
Not really. Great. My lectures have great long-lasting effects on people's lives. Just kidding. So I once mentioned to you the opinion of Fab Dupont about this. Maybe that makes you remember, but I just don't want to repeat. That's why I'm asking you. I don't care if you don't remember. If you remember, stop me and then I'll stop. But I really find this really important. So Fab Dupont said this thing which I really liked, which was like, hey, why should we make records be perfect? You know, why should we go and edit them and make them be so ideal? And the argumentation that he made was something kind of like, listen, when you go and see your favorite band live, if you hear a recording of them performing that same show that you've seen, most likely is going to be shit. But when you're there, you know, you're with your girlfriend holding her hand, or your wife, and you're having a beer, you know, there are 10,000 people in the place where you are, or maybe 100, or maybe 1,000, whatever, but there is more people, and there is a sense of congregation, and the performance is done, you know, and you come out of this performance and you're like, oh my God, this was life-changing, you know. And maybe if you would hear the recording in isolation, you would be like, wow, that was a really crappy performance. But the thing is that the performance carry these extra layers, which is your girlfriend, your friends, the venue, the fact that you're in the same place as the artist, you know, which is very magical. I always think about this when I'm in a show and, you know, I coincide with the artists I love. It's like, oh, wow, our Google Maps points, you know, were separated and now they're in the same place. And that's really cool. But the performance as such, maybe it's kind of like even falls to a secondary level for your experience. Now, when you have a record, you have the same song, but you don't have your girlfriend holding your hand. You don't have the 10,000 people around you. You don't have the beer. You don't have like the energy of the venue. You don't have the position with the same guy in the same place. So you see, you miss a lot of those elements, and then that's one of the reasons why we make records to be so perfect. It's to be able to complement for the lacking of all of those elements that are not there because you're not experiencing the live performance. So one of the reasons that we should edit, you know, it's to, like, let's say, to try to recreate what it feels to hear a song in the concert. And I don't mean that it should live sound like a show, you know, I really don't mean that. I hope you understand what I mean. It's more sophisticated what I mean. It's like, you know, to recreate all the missing elements. Recreate all the missing elements of a show. Of a show that are not there when you hear it live. The other reason is, I think, like, you know, because we are making art, you know. And I don't mean to say that art has to be perfect, because I mean there are some sculptures that have like some like mistake, some like artifact, and that's part of the beauty of that sculpture, you know. But we certainly need to go all the way, you know, definitely all the way. Do you have any thoughts? I would like to hear your thoughts. That's why I didn't prepare this slide. I wanted to make it with you. Like, if we edit, why should we edit? Is there any other argument that I'm not putting there?
Yeah, I just got an Insta thought about recreating the venue.
Да.
So it's about your way of mixing the drums. You always drum the drummer perspective.
Yeah.
But if you want to recreate the venue, you have to mix drums.
No, but I didn't meant exactly that. I didn't meant like the venue. I mean, there is a meta element to a show. You know, let me put this more better, like to write it more clearly, to try to recreate the meta element of the show. You know, the meta. And I obviously don't mean meta, you know what I mean? Element of the show, of the concert. You know, the presence of the artist, like the fact that you're a bit drunk, you know, happy, listen to something, you know.
Leo, I think the first point is not exactly correct, because I think you're trying to say that you're replacing the emotions from the venue by the excellent performance, like editing performance of the recording. That's what you mean?
No.
Because
No, I mean more like if you watch a movie and the movie, it's not well, the CGI is not good, you know, you're not gonna believe the movie.
Yeah.
If you hear a record and the record doesn't goes all the way to try to make you feel something strong, the record is gonna fall short. That's what I mean. That's the best way I can say what I mean. I was using Fab Dupont's metaphor because I like it.
But like live shows usually like a bit shittier than recording.
Yeah.
I mean, in the way of editing, and so you edit something to. This should like.
Компенсировать, ты имеешь в виду?
Yeah. You compensating the feeling from the venue in the good editing.
Like here, look at how I wrote it now. To compensate for the lacking of the meta element of the concert.
Now it's
now
because
clear.
the first version was
it
like
was wrong.
not this.
Or let's put it even to separate from meta, the company, the metaphysical element of the show. You know, it's literally a metaphysical element. You know, it's a feeling. It's okay. So we got that because we have a lot of work to do. So I'm gonna move on.
Sure.
Because we're making art and we certainly need to go all the way. So I guess that these 2 points go together. And I don't know if is there another reason. I think that's the only reason, because there are some recordings that really don't need editing, and you go all the way. It's by just judging that's it. That's what I need. You know, I don't think that there is an argument to say that you edit because it should be perfect. No, that's not the reason. That's kind of what I mean there. I don't know if there's another reason. Can you find another reason? It's just such a good argument. Like I really spent a decade thinking about that, and I had different answers. And when I heard that sentence, I was like, "Holy shit, that's it." You know, because what else can we say there? I mean, because we're obsessive compulsive people. Okay, maybe that's one of the reasons.
Because perfect music sounds good.
Yeah, but I mean, think about a record of the Melvins. I don't know if you have ever heard the Melvins, or I don't know. There are a Melvins record, or like for example, there is this record. Let me tell you an example. There is this record by Yawning Man, Big Giant Rock. You know, there is this record by Yawning Man, and I mean, this is not edited. It's just them playing. It's a record. It's really their album, and they go and they play a show. Like, I mean, not a show, but they play an empty performance, and there is no editing there, and there are tempo mistakes, and I mean, they went all the way by taking the gear there to the middle of the desert, and you know, making a big art statement. But that record is not to the grid. You know what I mean? And many times, I edit something. And then, like, actually, I can show you a case, like, right here. Like, look at this case. Like, it's one of my clients. It's happening right now. It's something that I'm working on right now. Like, if I search here the word groove, I think, like, groove, it should be here. Groove. Did he wrote it wrong? Lost the... Lucy, he wrote it wrong. He wrote it wrong. Look at this message from my client. Like, did you quantize drums? And I was like, yeah, I did that in DTH when we were together. Kind of lost the groove. And I really don't agree with them. And now I really don't agree with them. And now they are like, look at the latest message. This was like 3 weeks ago or something. Now they're like kind of like, hey, we need to edit drums. Like, you see, like we have to edit drums. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, I already did this. Now you're gonna make me do it again, because this is the type of band who is like, no, like, we don't know. Well, anyways, we have so much to do, so I'm gonna move on a bit. If you later, while I'm editing, you think about another example, tell me, and I'll put it here. As we are progressing, I'm gonna be writing an algorithm here, so I can document my steps, and it can be done really live and creatively. So let's see. I will be documenting my steps. So obviously, for me, the first part of my algorithm, let me change this to be numbers. For deep editing, the first part of my algorithm would be something kind of like, I will be refining this as we go. Record material, but there is something here really important for me, which is name the tracks clearly and correctly. So okay, let's move on. Let's go on.
Hello, sorry.
Yeah.
The question before I forgot. Do you take additional cost if editing like very complex? If recording shitty and you should do a lot of work?
Nowadays, I'm charging almost all my work per hour. And actually, you know what?
But should we?
No, I don't think so. Because you know why? Because you're not fast. Maybe you are, and I'm wrong, but I don't think you are, because it took me kind of like 10 years to become fast. Maybe to you it will take you 3 years, but there's no way in the universe that you are fast as fast as I am right now. Like, I can edit a drum.
Yeah, sure.
song.
Should we take additional cost if...
yeah, but you shouldn't charge it per hour. You shouldn't charge it per
okay.
hour. You should make it like, hey man, 1,000 rubles per song or something. And then you have 10 songs and it's like 10K extra is just for the editing. And then mixing is another price.
Okay.
I wanted to show you in that same space. Look at how I'm charging right now. It's really cool. I really love it because I'm doing these streams. Like, look, I send the video streams of what I did, and the same is if it's for editing, and I charge per minute. It's like my minute of work is 28.33 ruble. This was 240 minutes. This is 6. I sent this morning, last night at 2 a.m. You see, like 6,000.
The next level of professional is charging per second.
Yeah, it can be done. All I need to do is to calculate how this is my price per hour, etc. Okay, so that's how I do it. So let's go and edit, and I'll have this window in parallel, and I'm gonna be documenting those steps here as I progress. So okay, check this out. This is a horrendous performance. Artemi, I'm curious if you're there, because I really will be very curious to hear how much incredibly bad this is.
But, yeah, I'm here, but I launched my Pro Tools and now my Google Meet is lagging, so I might have to reconnect.
Go ahead, yeah, do what you need. So check it out. This is really like, without editing, so it's exactly how it was, and
we can't hear it.
You cannot hear it. Try to imagine my head.
It's too quiet. I can hear it, but it's too quiet.
Yeah, just a moment. Let me check the loopback situation.
Now it kind of works. Yeah.
Wait, let me just, anyways, let me drop here a stereo master fader, and just like so I can make it louder for you guys. I'm gonna mute the guitars for a second. So, okay, I hope that you get already how disastrous this is. Let's see the guitars part. Look at this. Look at this attack. The first thing that I want you to learn to master really is to read the grid. To be able to read the grid. So I'm gonna put here some thoughts. I'm putting it here. Learn to read the grid. Do you know what I mean by that?
Like if they're playing on time?
Can you please say, Artemi, again?
If they're playing on time,
Yeah, but I
Or-
mean, so you can do it even without listening. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, to read the grid. Yeah, if they're playing on time. Maybe we didn't understand each other, but I mean, you should be able to do this even without listening, you know. It's kind of like you move around to the right and you see, like, this thing is early. Late, sorry. The thing is late.
But maybe it's swing.
Yeah, sure. You're right. Maybe it's swing. But you know what? Like, swing is carried by by people who really have carried
Yeah, I
it inside.
understand
You know what I mean? Like, and I get this a lot, and I look at the guy, and it's like, you know, like, he gives me this absolute crap performance, and I look at him like, and then he's like, it's my groove, and I'm like, yeah. And let me tell you something. I speak badly Russian. It's because it's my fishka, you know. Like, I shouldn't speak perfect. You know what I mean? Like, so. Anyways, you're right, but in this case, I mean, we have to aim for perfection as much as we can in this particular case. So okay. So great. Let's. Usually when I go like this and I look around, like, I just can check, like, okay, early, late, early, late. For example, this is early. You see, like, a super early, right here.
Yeah.
Like, and if I move around and I put myself in a random place, this is guitars we're looking at. This is kind of on time. You know, this is late. And the other thing, I mean, I'm making here a list of things. Like, you will see me writing in parallel. I'm just adding this into this document that I showed you earlier. I'm gonna be doing two things: an algorithm, and let's determine. I'm writing here parallel skills that are critical. So I'm putting here read the grid. No, let me write here skills and thoughts that are critical. Yeah. Because I have a couple of important things to tell you. Skills and thoughts that are critical. So one, learn to read the grid. Okay, I'm putting it here. Learn to read the grid. Read the grid. The second thing I want to tell you that I think is really important when you're editing something is that usually when musicians leave the metronome, they leave the metronome for a whole fraction. This is a really important tip. Okay, and maybe you already thought about all of these things, but I really don't think that you have had a good editing lecture in MMS in all your time. And if you think I'm wrong, tell me, and I'll correct my program. But when I was thinking about your whole existence in MMS, nobody has made you go through the torture that I'm gonna make you go through right now with this project in particular.
We kinda made something with
Ilya Masaev, right?
Masaev last
Yeah.
year, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure of that, but
it was not enough. For
yeah,
sure.
I don't think that it was enough. Yeah. So the thing is, like, okay, learn to read the grid. And the second thing I want to tell you here is, like, when musicians leave the metronome, you know, leave the grid, they usually leave the metronome for a whole segment, you know. And one of the first things that you do when you're editing is kind of like grabbing big chunks of segments. And you see, like, this is early, and most likely, sorry, this was late here. And it happens often, not always, that this whole segment is going to be late. This is not the case. It's a bad example because in here now he's early. Now look, early. All of this is early, you see? And then here he's back to the grid, and then here he's early again. Early. All of this is early. Early. All of this, you see, super early. He's ahead. He is ahead, very much ahead. And you know what I have noticed? That it's super connected to the personality of the people. Like, people who are really, like, you know, I think they're like freaky and very fast, you know, and they want to absorb everything fast. They are kind of early. Usually they are so, like, wanting to play perfect so much. They don't play perfect, and they so want to play perfect that they end up playing early because they're kind of like in a hurry kind of thing to perform well. So you see, all of this is early. All of this stuff is early. Let me be sure of that, because yeah, I'm sure. Like, all of this is early. So what I usually do first is, like, I move around and I look for a segment when the whole thing, you see here, he kind of went back to the grid. And let's see if that's consistent. Yeah, well, still early. Maybe this whole thing is going to be early and there's nothing we can do there. Now here he's back to the grid a little bit. Back to the grid. This is better. You see? Can you see it?
Yeah.
He's like back to the grid. So I can, you see, like, and here he's late. Now he's late early. This is a train wreck of a recording, definitely. So let me just, by the way, let me save this as, before I fuck it up, I feel alright, unedited MMS, and let me just call this Leo edit MMS. Okay. And I, just in case, I just don't remember at which stage I saved it, so let me just drop this here, and sorry, just making sure that I don't lose what I did before. Leo edit MMS. Yes. All right, cool. So the first thing I'm writing here in our algorithms is like, or whatever I'm trying to write here, let me just correct, identify regions of error. So you know what I mean, and try to get them back to the correct place. So this was all a segment in which the musicians seem to have been early. So you kind of move the whole segment back, you know. So, and usually people are consistently wrong. You see what I mean? Like this guy was kind of, well, I mean, here now because of the movement I meant, it ends up being late. But now a lot of the things that were off grid are going to be on grid. Let's see if what I'm saying is true. Maybe this guy is just here still too early, still too early, still too early. But anyways, it's better than what it was. Here's on the grid, still too early, still too early, still too early, still too early. So there is no salvation to this guy. This is just zero group. So let's look at that same case in the drums, because maybe the drums will illustrate it better. So look, in here he's on the grid, kind of, like he's kind of on the grid. This is a snare, right? This is a kick, this is a snare. So let's see, he's early here, early, all of this segment is early. Look, early, 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 early. So I'm moving all the way until I see that he goes back to the grid. Early. Maybe this can be even easier seen if I change the grid to be an 8th notes. Yeah, you see, because no, but this song kind of is counting. It's better quantized in 16s, so I'm gonna leave it in 16s. So I'm gonna carry on early, early, early. Getting better there. But then he's early. I mean, this is just a train wreck. So here is a little bit better. Nah, there is no pattern here. It's just like these guys are just randomly playing stuff. Like, there's really not a pattern. Usually you see, like, if you record a good musician and it loses the grid, you see that it's kind of like a segment, and you move it and you heal it, but not this case. Maybe here you see he goes back to the grid. Let's see. Nah, it's all a mess. There is no way, nothing to save here. So identify regions of error. Maybe in another case that we will do, it will come clear to us. But now I wanted to write a couple of things here. Skills and thoughts that are critical. Learn to read the grid. Learn to use groups like a god. There is no other way to do this. Do you all feel strong with groups? And I'm here including Andrei in Ableton.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? It's like you are going to get right now the thing I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tracks of drums. You know, you need to be able to grab, like, for example, make a cut here and make a movement of everything and make sure that all the drums are...
Yeah.
Huh?
It is possible.
Yeah, I'm sure it's possible. What did you want to say?
I was curious about groups, and you answered that you should that I should be able to move stuff in groups. And
Yeah.
I say, yeah, I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Like, learn to use groups, or learn to, or let's say, like, become hyper confident when using groups. That's what I would say. I mean, these are things that are absolutely critical. So, and Artemi, by the way, because you were not here in the first 2 lectures, like, I want you to, I'll be back to you, Andrei, in a second. I want you to understand what is going on. Like, one of the things that I said in the first lecture was that there was a period in my career where things became a lot easier, and that was a period when I became a monster at doing easy tasks, at doing basic, stupid tasks, and that I didn't have to think about this anymore. So this first part of our TV series of post-production lectures is about that period of my career when I became kind of good at editing drums and bass and guitars to becoming an absolute monster at this. So just in case, so you know what's going on, tell me, Andrei.
For example, if you editing kick and snare in group, you adjust kick by grid, but you see that snare is not on the grid now. Like,
well, yeah, we're gonna have to see all of that.
You have to edit this separately, not in groups.
You will never edit drums breaking the tracks into different. I mean, the tracks of drums have always to be on a group. There are exceptions, and there are some moments when maybe you can get away with it, but if not, you're gonna get an artifact. Let me show you what I mean. Like, if I for example, if I make because it's gonna drum overheads and snare are gonna sound like blah. So you're gonna get some issue there. So everything has to be together. There are cases where you can get away with it, but it's very, very rare. You know, something that can be, for example, it can be like that I made a cut like this, and maybe I can get away with doing something like this, but 90% of the times this is gonna give you some weird sounding thing that it's not gonna work. You need to learn how to, maybe, for example, maybe you're gonna have to go to another hit somewhere else in the song and take that snare and bring it back, you know?
Yes.
For example. Okay, cool. So, all right. How do I do this? Like, when I just record it, and what is my plan? You know, I go immediately and I use Beat Detective, you know, and I'm going to just quickly do a Beat Detective version of everything, and then see what else can be of use there after I do Beat Detective. I was expecting to try to find some regions that were off, that then I can fix them, but I couldn't find them because these guys are just off. So I'm just gonna go for it and do Beat Detective right away. You know, something really funny. You can know that a drummer is really bad when, wait, let me see something. Wait a second. Like when he counts and the count requires editing. Like that happens a lot.
Oh my god.
That happens a lot. And you see like 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's like, fuck, this is gonna be a bad session, man. Like, no, you actually know it from the very first second, like, of the session. So nowadays, I mean, I like to show you kind of like the end of things and then go back to the beginning. Like nowadays, the way I work, when it's a song like this, that it's all in 4x4, and it's all really simple, is that I literally quantize the whole song in one click. You know, I go and I grab Beat Detective, and I just select it all from beginning to end, and I just quantize the whole song in one go, you know. And then I go and I fix the problems that emerge from that. That works for me because I can be 10 million times faster if I do it like that. Because when you go now and you open a tutorial on YouTube, like how to use Beat Detective on Pro Tools, what you're going to get a suggestion is like, well, break your song down in parts, you know, like part 1, and then edit part 1, and then go to part 2, and then go to part 3. I have done it like that for many years, but nowadays I realize that for me, it's faster just to quantize the whole song and then go through parts and fix them, you know, rather than being like stopping and making a zoom out and then changing a region. And then like, I just want to do things super fast. So I just want my changes fast. Andrei.
What do you mean, quantize the whole song?
You will see. I'm going to do it right now. So, I mean, I'm going to make a selection here. This is a Pro Tools Fishka. So Ableton really doesn't have this function that I'm going to show you now. Maybe it does, and I'm just an asshole, and that's it. But I'm going to make a selection, and this selection is from... Notice this, Dimitri and Artemi, how do you guys feel with Beat Detective? Do you feel strong with Beat Detective?
Not really.
Yeah, kinda. We had a big part of Beat Detective with Mazaev.
Yeah, I know this. I know this very much.
But not so strong.
Yeah, but I mean, like, let's go and see it. So, when I'm in this situation right now, I guess that I address more towards Dimitri here because Andrei doesn't use Pro Tools, and Artemi says that he feels very confident at this. So I want to tell you this: when you make a selection and you want to use Beat Detective for something, you need to make sure that this is the most important thing when you use Beat Detective. You need to make sure that your selection is from a 0 point from the beginning of a bar to the end of a bar. Well, not even exactly like that. It's just like kind of like every bar has a certain segmentation. This is a bar, and you see like this is bar 8, and this is beat 1 of bar 8. Now I'm standing here. This is the segmentation. I don't even know how to read this. Do you know how to read this? Like the segmentation. I'm looking at this number here. The segmentation, it's a 2/40th of a bar, something like that. Let me go and see it in fourth, so it's more obvious. It's like segment 2, you see, like segment 2. Yeah, I understand it now. 3, so that's the dolia, right, of the bar. 4, and then the end of the bar. So now I'm at bar 9, beat 1. So bar 8, beat 1. Bar 2, beat 1. Bar 8, beat 2. Bar 8, beat 3. Bar 8, beat 4.
Sorry, as I remember, the last number, it's milliseconds of the...
No, not really. If I make there is no milliseconds there. It's if I make this in eighths, for example, this is like in between beat 1 and 2. You see?
It's not milliseconds. It's
like
the parts of.
It's a part of a beat
divided by 1,000. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's part of a beat. So you see, it's like I'm in like halfway in between a beat, like I'm in here in beat 1, and then I'm not yet in beat 2. Now I'm in beat 2. Blah blah blah. So what I'm trying to say is that when you're going to quantize something with Beat Detective, you're going to have to make a selection. You see that has to start on a 0 point and end on a 0 point. So it has to be, if not, Beat Detective is not going to do the quantization well. You see what I mean? You cannot be in between beats. You cannot make a selection that is in between beats because it's just not going to work, you know. So by the way, Andrei, I will demonstrate too the non-Beat Detective path in a minute. It's just like I want to show quickly how I do it nowadays. Just so you know, because this is not a lecture exclusive for Pro Tools. So I'm making a selection from bar 8 all the way till the end of the song. So this is bar 126, and this is no segmentation there. You know, I'm in the beat number 1 of bar 123. So I'm going to make a selection, which is a total. You see, like, look at it. It starts on bar 3, 0, 0, and it ends on bar 123, 1. And that's a selection of 120 bars. 0 measures, right? So that's a rovna. It's a total selection. So I'm going to load Beat Detective. And I'm going to look at the most important freaking parameter of Beat Detective in the universe of the parameters of Beat Detective, which is the trigger pad. Do you know what it is? Artemi, can you tell me?
Maybe how fast it, like the snaps to transient or something.
No.
I don't remember.
No, and it's brutally important. So you see the trigger pad reads in milliseconds. And the trigger pad is, let's say that you're going to tell, because what you're going to do right now is to tell Beat Detective, Andrei, what you're going to do right now is to tell Beat Detective to make the cuts for you, the regions that will be quantized.
It's...
Now, this is a count in milliseconds of how, I mean, it's a couple of milliseconds. You're going to tell to Beat Detective, listen, when you find a transient, make the cut 7 milliseconds before. This is what this trigger pad means.
Yeah, it's kind of what I meant. I just said it very poorly.
Okay, I got it. Cool. So you're telling to Beat Detective, yo, find a transient and make a cut 7 milliseconds earlier. Why would you want to do that? So when you put the regions together, there are less artifacts, and you will see why that happens in a minute. So, okay, I'm making again my selection. I lost it for a second, sorry. I need to have a selection that is very precise. Look at this. If I would do Beat Detective right now, you see that this thing ends in 4, 9, 15. It will quantize it wrong. You need to be seeing here 0 and 0. That's the most important thing. So I go here and I go Beat Detective, load it. And then I'm going to tell to Beat Detective, yo, Beat Detective, find all the transients that you find there. Now, I'm going to have to analyze, and I'm going to have to tell to Beat Detective, this is really important, and I need to check that Beat Detective is really looking at the correct size of the selection that I did. So what's the size from bar 3.1 to bar 123? Sometimes there is a discrepancy between these two counts, and you need to make it manually here because it's really a complex system, and sometimes it's not going to read what you want. And so then I go here and I make a zoom in, and I just make sure, and this is what I really do when I'm editing in the studio. I just tell the clients, man, go to have a cigarette. And when they come back from the cigarette, it's kind of already edited. So I make a zoom, I make a really big waveform zoom so I can see where the things are going on. And then I just quickly kind of run through the thing, and I look like, look, there are some, Andrei, these white lines are places where Pro Tools is going to make a cut. So the regions are cut. So then the regions can be quantized. Now, if I can increase the sensitivity of this. You see, like, he was not looking at this beat, because when the drummer is bad, the hits that he makes are really not consistent. And so maybe the algorithm of Beat Detective is kind of like seeing them, but maybe it misses some hits because the hits are not great. So I need to increase the resolution of or the sensitivity of the algorithm. You see, like now he's seeing all these hits, and the same is happening with this. And then I would quickly inspect the whole thing. Look, he's seeing this, everything is great, like kind of great. I mean, he's seeing it all. Right now it seems like I am in the right level of analysis, like right settings. Let me tell you something. If Beat Detective, for those of you who are Pro Tools guys, if Beat Detective is not reading it well, you are doing something wrong. Like, I have been blaming it's not perfect for years, and I always realized that it was me, the problem, not the program. Like, that's kind of like a general rule. It's always us, not the computers, unfortunately. Sometimes there is an exception, but okay, so I'm checking this all out and just having a look, like, oh, look, it seems like he's seeing all the transients that should be there. When there are some songs maybe have like, they are in 4/4, and then they move to a 4/4 swing, and you need to also start using the triplets function. Sometimes you're going to have to do it. So the whole algorithm is kind of working in triplets. But right now it's not the case because the whole song is super squared. So okay, I kind of like run through it and make sure that everything is there. I'm not going to see it all right now. And then I click separate. So now he is going to break, like everywhere where I saw a transient, he's going to make a cut. Now, there are places when those cuts are not ideal. For example, here, right in the first one. So I'm going to have to do a lot of work still. It's not done. And then I go to conform, and I make sure that the regions are the same. And I can select a percentage of swing, if I want to. If I want it to be, I usually will go here like 12% or something, so it's not like a robot. And then I would choose fill gaps and crossfade, and choose a number of crossfade. And then hit smooth. Boom. And sorry, I made a mistake. Big mistake. I need to conform it first. So I'm going to conform it. So you see, he moved things into the grid now. Like wherever those cuts were, things are now quantized to the grid. Andriuha, can you see it?
Yep.
So he made all those cuts. He quantized to the grid. And you see, this is happening for the whole drum performance. Like overheads, rooms, everything is in there. So that's done. And then I will heal the gaps that are formed in between all these places. So smooth. I think, visual graphic. And so now he has all the holes that were there, because I mean, what happens is that he made an individual region and then moved that region, and then other region next to it, there is a hole in between them. So I need to heal those holes. So he did that. Great. And he did that for the whole song. You see? So that's done.
I should download Pro Tools.
Yeah, come on, Avid. Speaking of Avid, let me share something here from Ilya and me, because I mean I'm so angry about this. Basically, Ilya and I tried to buy Pro Tools. Artemi knows this. We were in some situation with Avid right now, and so the final message I got about getting our money back was like, okay, Avid took the 4 licenses, but they took a 3% restock fee. So basically, they stole from us 10% of the 4 licenses that we bought, just because we're in Russia. And look at this message. Once they lift sanctions for Russia, we'll rebuy you the 10% discount. Motherfuckers. And then you can see Ilya there like, Avid piece of shit.
Sorry, what the start? You requested the refund of the Pro Tools license or what?
We bought 4 Pro Tools licenses.
Yeah.
Educational.
Yeah.
And when we went to install them, Avid was like, no, you're in Russia. You will never get this activated. Yes. And so we went to the provider, because when I called the licenses, I called the provider and I was like, man, what if Avid doesn't let me activate the licenses because I'm in Russia? And the provider was like, no, don't worry. It's all going to be cool. And then when we went to activate the licenses, they didn't want to activate us license. We asked for a refund. They went to Avid, so they unlock those licenses so they can use it again in somewhere else. But David was like, let's steal 10% for these Russian motherfuckers there, because you know they are Hitler. So okay, fine. So whatever. That's how it is. So yeah, I'm so angry with David. But Andrei, even though I'm so angry with David, I'm very happy that you realize this, because of Pro Tools, of course, is superior about all of this, unfortunately. So back to this. Okay, so now what I do is here. So let me just mute the bass, mute the guitar, and let's have a listen. So what do we got now? So we got this. So what is going to happen now is that we're going to be analyzing this, and we're going to be looking for artifacts, and then we need to heal them. So how do we heal them? We pull back like this. So what I do now, because I'm used to this and I don't even listen, I just go and heal the artifacts right away. With you, I'm going to play for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to start fixing artifacts. Let me mute the guitar. You see, he's healing even, he was quantizing even the ghost notes. So we have like ta-ta-ka-ta-ka-ta-ku-ta. Now, do you hear the artifacts there?
Yeah, I heard something, but I'm not sure because the sound is...
It's shitty, right? Like, remember that there is a recording, and I think that this recording would be really useful. You can always just jump like tak 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 and see it like in fast forward, and it would be helpful to you. You can hear those things in the recording. And okay, look, the reason why that is happening is because you see there is a conflict here, because I mean I'm creating some time there that doesn't exist. You see, look at the shape there. Wait, let's just look at it here. Wait. So you see, like, look at the waveforms where they encounter each other. There, he wants to play a kick there, but there is really not a kick there at all. So that's why this artifact exists. And I mean, the truth of the matter is that you're gonna clean a lot of them, and some of them you're gonna leave them there. I mean, and maybe, and it's okay, and it will not be hearable in the recording. Once you add all the elements, like, it's suboptimal to leave it there. But anyways, like, I mean, I'm telling you that it will happen a lot. But you see, I kind of fixed it already. And that's where the $1 million are, you know, in quickly knowing how to fix those problems. Yeah, I kind of fixed it. There's not an issue anymore. So let's carry on. There was one there, again. Ah, shit, I lost my position. That sucks. You see, notice something. The first bar, or the first iteration, he didn't do those ghost notes well. Hear it. There should be ta tach katakuta. Tun tun tach kat. Look. He missed one. You hear it, right? Like here. So what do I do in that case? I'm gonna make a marker. Because why do I make a marker? Because maybe I'm editing and I'm like, oh fuck, I lost my place. So it's really important to make markers along the way, millions of markers, just so you don't lose. Like, you, if you see my projects, you will see a lot like I was here. Like, you see it a lot, and it's important because it happens a lot that you're doing something, you're there, and you hit enter by accidentally or whatever, and you lost your place. Then you're back. Okay, so I was here. Now look at, I have a couple of options of what to do next. So, oh shit, I need to replace that hit. So option 1, my favorite option, check other takes. So I open the playlists and I have a lot of takes here. So what I'm gonna send you is gonna be really criminal, because I'm gonna send you all the takes mixed up in a mess, badly named. So you are gonna have to figure out what the hell is this kick? Is this kick from which take? Because you will get this a lot in your work. It will happen a lot. Some guy from Tula sending you some drums that they recorded in the Basa, and he wants to send you all the takes, and you're gonna get like some numbers there that are random, and you're gonna have to sit down for hours and be like, oh shit, like this kick, which snare take is it? Ah fuck, it's gonna be long. But I want you to practice this. That's the whole point of the whole
Thanks,
thing.
Obama.
Sorry?
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. So now, of course, all your tracks are going to start from the same 0 point. That's an advantage I'm giving you, because usually I also get tracks that don't even have the same 0 point, and I have to somehow figure out what the hell is that. It happens less and less the more you progress, which is paradoxically, because when you're better at fixing this, you get better tracks. But when you're worse at fixing this, you get worse tracks. So anyways, okay. So we're fixing that problem. And my favorite way is to open the playlist. So you see, Andriuja, I guess at Ableton you can do that as well. But one of the reasons why I love Pro Tools is because I have now all my takes. This is take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4, take 5, take 6. And I have them one on top of the other. And I know that you know this. I can audition them. And so I was here. Let's hear an alternative take. Aha, so there was one that, but he did it too fast. Let me hear the next one. Also too fast. He's doing terrible. This like distance between the ghost notes and the next note. That was a good one. That's good enough, I think. So I make a big zoom and let's increase the resolution of the grid. So you see, like now I'm gonna be touching this take. And Andriuja, you see, like one of the dangers here is that I wanna move this. I'm gonna do it wrong right now just to show you. I have switched off the groups. I switch off the groups, and I know that I switch off the groups because I hit Command-Shift-G, and then the groups disappeared from here. So if I pull up this little piece of kick, I pull it only for the kick. The rest of the things are the same old performance. So I will make a pasticho or a lasagna there of stuff that doesn't make any sense. So I got my groups on, and then I can, if I make a selection here, you see I made a cut in take 3, and that cut was performed in all the takes for the whole performance. You see, this is the same region. He is working in parallel in all the tracks that were recorded for all the microphones. You understand what I mean, Andriuja?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So I got this little kusochek here that maybe is useful for me. Let me make a zoom in again. And now what I tend to do is like to put that on the grid right away because I want to move this upwards. I want to promote this part of the take. So then I'm going to move this guy here. And I remember, man, when I was like 16 years old and my brother was showing me this and he was like, man, listen, one day when you're editing drums, make sure, this is really important, guys. Like when you're trying to unite regions, try to make it in a way, you see, like here, the waveform is going down. It kind of like, it completes like some sort of a waveform cycle. Try to make sure that these connections that you're doing coincide with waveform cycles. You see, I don't have that situation here. You see it? Like I'm going down. Yeah, that's really, sometimes it just doesn't nie получается, and that's how it is. And that's how it's going to be. But if you find a way to do it like that, it's going to be better sounding for sure, and you will have less artifacts. So, okay. And now let's pull this up. I was interested in only that little piece. I'm going to stop listening to this. Okay, so I was listening interested only in this. So I'm going to pull this up. And now obviously this was pulled up for all the takes. And here's my snare. Da, da. The second one needs to be a bit further back. And then I need to pull this back and close this here. I need to pull this back and close this here. And let's see what happened here. Oh, and look, I'm making a mistake because my kick is getting eaten by something. It shouldn't happen, and I have healed everything. Let me reset this waveform zoom, maybe make it a bit larger, and then see. Okay, so now let's see. Awesome, it was fixed. Let's have a look. Great, awesome, like new. That's fixed. So we heard something that was late there. Wait, I was here. Like something was wrong there, right? So let's make a zoom.
Snare hits.
Yeah, let's make a zoom. So you see, like I have this one is too late, so I need to move it here, and so on. So what I do nowadays, I mean, I'm showing you this path in which we're listening and fixing. What I do nowadays is that I just go and I kind of put myself in a position when I can see both the kick and the snare only because it's my main stuff, and I just go like this. Okay. Something is wrong here, you see, and I fix it without even listening. Like nowadays I'm really working like this. So I keep going like this. Like this is awk, no awk. Need to fix this. And that's what I meant to you, that one of the skills that you need to develop is like to be able to understand that it's on the grid without even listening, because you're gonna have to move around like this. If you don't do it like this, you're gonna spend millions of hours. So this is okay. So what's up here? You see, like I have a kick here that it's not in the right place. when the performance is good, the beat detective algorithm just works like magic, and then it all works super well. Now, before I carry on showing you this beat detective stuff, I'm gonna undo everything I did. Am I going to undo everything I did? Let me just not do that. It's better to do it like this. Wait, let me just stay here, point 1, and I'm gonna open the previous version I had that it's not yet edited. There is a reason why I'm doing that. So let me go here and write here some other skills and thoughts that are critical. Became hyper-confident when using groups. And I'm put you here one more point, which is like create, save instances of your progress obsessively. Do you understand what I mean? You understand what I mean, guys?
You mean save a lot?
Like, I mean, point 1,
Yeah.
point 2, point 3. Like, I think I have mentioned this to you, but the whole audio world has a sort of like a meme with me, because all my mixes end up being like version 99. And yeah, and I have heard a lot of engineers laughing about this, like, haha, Leo ends up with 99 version. Like, no, man, like, it's just like I create a new version like every 5 minutes. Like, who cares which version I am? Like, all I care is that I have a history and I can go back to it, whatever. Anyways, so Andriuha, what if I don't have Beat Detective or whatever? Beat Detective is broken. How can I do this? Oh man. Okay, well, I need to grab here. I'm gonna go back to where we were in a minute, but I'm just demonstrating, like, what if I'm in another program that doesn't have this function? What should be the procedure to go? Pro Tools has this thing called tap to transients. Does Logic have something like tap to transients?
Yeah.
And Ableton has something like tap to transients?
No.
Do you know, Andriuha, if it has it? I guess no.
I don't really remember.
Okay, do you know what it is, tap to transient?
Yes.
So, I mean, you hit tab and it just go to a transient, and then you hit cut.
Yeah.
So you go to next transient, you go to a next transient, you go to a next transient, and then you go manually. Oh shit, like, can I do this here? Like, okay, let me just put this here. Can I do this here? Let me just put it here. Can I do this here? Yeah, here. And this one here. And now these are the holes. And it's cool to show you this, because that's what Beat Detective is doing, and that's why these regions needs to be healed, and that's why this trim, I forgot the name, like this microseconds trim selection delay, whatever. It's important because you see, like, if I make the cut a little bit behind and then I move this, there are less artifacts than if I do it like without that compensation. So how else would I have to do? Well, I need to go and cut the next one, cut the next one. You get my point. I mean, I'm obviously not gonna edit it like that because it's stupid. It just will take me a million years to do it. Like a Beat Detective cut that in 1 second, you know. So I guess like it would be like this. And like, I mean, sometimes I find myself in the necessity of doing this because sometimes some performances are too complex and they don't work with Beat Detective so well. When I find myself in that situation, what I tend... Well, I just heard like a mega screen of babies. I hope that everybody's fine there. Sorry. And what I tend to do when that happens is sort of like do what I was trying to tell you before, to find a region. Like, okay, all of this region is early, and move that whole region back a bit and see how it falls now into the grid. So I don't have to cut everything like a million times, and maybe it's more natural. So I would do something kind of like, okay, all of this is what? Look at this. This hit, man, what a super drummer. This hit has to be here. He's kind of like a quarter of a bar, not a quarter, an eighth of a bar off. So I will have to do something like this, etc. So you got the point. I mean, that's what I would be doing, and it's gonna be impossible and super long, and I don't know any other way. If you don't have Beat Detective, you just have to go and cut all the transients yourself, and then just pray for the Lord, you know, really. Let's save it. And let's just save it. Let's go back to here. Do you have any things that you want to clear out, or your experience, any comments that you want to say at this point, like something that you always wanted to ask, or I don't know, any things that can be useful now to discuss?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So all right, like we're in that situation where we are healing things, and I'm gonna go through it right now. It's so we have kind of 30 minutes to go, something like that. So well, yeah, something like that. So I'm gonna be careful with the time because I don't want to stay only in the drums. I want to kind of run through a little bit of how the whole project would be edited. So like I was telling you, like I would have, nowadays what I would do is just like visually identify all the problems and fix them without even listening, you know, and then listen and then kind of like checking what happened. There is some breakup here, need to heal that. This thing is alright. That thing is alright. I mean, look, what happened here? Like my kick ended up, and you know what this thing happened? Because maybe the transient was caught on a hi-hat hit that was before the kick. Like, so you see, I mean, I should be here, but I am here. It can be either the algorithm didn't read it well, or that the way I selected the whole thing just made a cut, like maybe while looking at the hi-hat or something. But I don't know. I don't think that was the case. Things to be alert. Things, classical errors that happens. Sometimes you are in a situation that looks like this. You have all of this quantized, and then this one, because you decided that you wanted to keep the groove or something, this one is not, this whole segment is not quantized. And something that happens a lot is that you don't notice that, and you're editing something, and then you do something like this. And you accidentally just moved all of this, and you get all that segment out. So it's something to be alert, you know. So, all right. I would just go on, carry on, and check all of this out, and just analyze it and go on. So I'm not going to do that now because I want to move on to the bass and the guitar. There is something, actually no, there is something before I leave the drums that I want to tell you that is really important. I'm going to try to find a problem, and I'm going to resolve that problem not by looking another take, but by going to another part of the song and bringing another hit. Even just a hit, like just one particular hit, and bringing back to where I am and put it there. So I'm just gonna wait until some problem comes in. There was a problem there, obviously. There is some artifact there. One of the options that you have to fix an artifact like that is to pull this back like this, and maybe just leave the original performance there and not suffer so much, because many of the times works. I mean, things don't have to be so robotic. So let's see. Like, it breaks our groove, right? Like, I mean, it's not what we wanted. It's like, because it's really playing different now. It's like, the original was da-da-do-da, and this one is like da-da-do-da. So there is a change there. And one of the things I can do is just to break this like this, keep the kick where it is, and move this here, and then see if this works. Maybe we can get away with it. Obviously, the best way to edit something is the easiest way. You should think like that. It's really important. You see, I just fixed it, and that's it, and I don't need to suffer. So let's carry on. There was some stuff there, but I kind of want to forget about these ghost notes. I want to go to another segment of the song because I want to demonstrate another principle. Let's go to... Oh, look at this. This is a great place. Wait. Something like, I mean, the way I quantize everything created this new metal thing there. Because look, this is a good example of crap. Like, look at that. Like, this thing should be here and here. Let me check that. Yeah, absolutely. You see, you hear the error right there.
Yeah.
It's a brutal one. So what can I do there? Oh my god. So obviously, like I told you, like one of the things I can do there is to open a new take and try to find it within the takes. Something, and this is a super visual moment because I have the kick here. You see, this take is going to help me a lot. You see, it's more closer to where it should be. Like compared to the others. All of these were bad performances. And the one that is closest to this is going to be the winner, the one that I need to take. Let's see where the snare falls there. So the snare there in that take falls super early. So this is a really, really bad news for everybody. Let me try to use this take. Oh, well, no, I was saying that I don't want to use an alternative take on purpose. So one of the things I want to tell you, and this is really important, when you find a case like this that is extreme, please, for the sake of your mental health, color it. So let's color it red. And now you know that there's a big problem there. And also, make a marker there. Just, you don't need to name it, but you know that there's a problem there. And now, so what are we looking at? I'm going to go to another segment of the song and identify a little piece that can help me to be to replace this thing there. So this is all a train wreck. I need to break this editing. It's not okay. Let's see what happened there. Let's see, this is all a disaster. You see, look at this snare needs to fall here. And this guy is just destroying that. So, yeah, this is all a mess. Wait. Look, let's focus in this area for a second because that's going to be important. You will see what I mean, and we will fix that problem. Now, I went somewhere else, but I have a marker and I have a painter of red there, so I can go back to that moment anytime. That's super important. So I'm gonna write it in our list here. Get in the habit of creating a lot of markers and coloring conflicting regions, because you will be moving around your session a lot. Great. So now here I have this issue, and I'm gonna just unpack it. You know, many times it's good to leave the original performance. Up, 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 up. You see, I just lost my place by accident, and now I know where I am because, I mean, I had a marker and I was at the beginning of this segment. I heard the error, but I'm gonna ignore it for now. Like, there is a problem there, so it's because of the performance, how it was. So I need to change this here. Let's cut this and fix it like that. And now this whole thing got moved a little bit, so I need to pull the original. Sometimes this happens and you need to pull the original performance. So let me just pull it here. I want to go to the next section. This, for example, you see, that big detective doesn't work there at all in this case. So I need to remove this thing. So, because I mean,
looks like it's not a bit detective.
It's the performance is terrible. Yeah, the performance is terrible. But also, no, I mean, like, you will notice, the more you progress with this program, you will see that one of the things that are, I mean, that, like I was telling you before, usually the program can do anything you want. It's just like you will need to dial it right. Like, you see, like, I'm gonna make a new selection, and this is a typical situation that I find myself in. Like, this didn't work. Let me try another approach of this detective to this particular selection. So I'm going to go here, open bit detective, and just go to clip separation and analyze this and see if I can maybe dial bit detective in a way that is better for this. Because I can quantize for a 32 note, for example. Let me see this. Let me make sure that it works. Let me analyze it. And I can quantize with a bit of a higher resolution. I don't think it's going to work. I agree with you, Dima, but I'm just trying to, and let me just try to render it instead of without triplets, with a triplet. And I don't think it's going to work anyways. I mean, I'm just toggling between two options, and then let's smooth it, and then, yeah, and then it just doesn't work because he didn't play it. What he wanted to play, he didn't play it. Let's hear the original performance. Yeah, like, I mean, he's just like doing like some sort of, like, I don't know what to say, like kasha here. So let's see the snare. 1 second. And let's change the grid one moment to triplets here, just to see what's up. That seems to be better suited for the performance he's trying to do. And then let's move this back here. You see, like, I have the snares on triplets here. And then I have these snares. They need to be on triplets too. Because the snares are in triplets and the kick is not. And that's one of the reasons why the algorithm cannot see it well, apart from the fact that he didn't play it well. You see, like, this is getting better. So I need to maybe fix the snares first, like in this particular case. I'm gonna pull this back and then pull this back. You're kind of following me there, right? I'm just editing the snares here.
Yeah.
Alone. Now the problem is there that he rushed too much. Now if I play this, it would sound like crap because there are all these holes, but it would be rhythmically correct. but we cannot use this, like. And I'm eating this kick, so let me see, like it should be like, yeah, that's how it should be. And theoretically, one of the things that Beat Detective can do for you, you see, I made this editing manually, but then I can select all of this and then hit here, smooth, and then he will heal the gaps that I just created for me and put the crossfades at the length that I set. So, I mean, one of the cool things about the detective is that you can use the parts separately. You know, you don't need to use the whole thing. You can use only the smoothing part, and then you're like here, and let's see what Beat Detective and I did together, how it works. It's livable. You can live with this. There is an artifact in the end. You can hear it. But I mean, sometimes I when my clients start telling me like, I can hear that artifact, like what are we gonna do? And I'm like, just like, man, listen, you know, you played like shit, and there's gonna be a compromise. Like, there is no way that you wanna, you know, sound like Bini Colaiuta or something when you're playing like worse than my 2-year-old son, you know. So there is a trade-off, but I always take it like a video game, you know. So for me, it's always like challenge accepted. Let me try to fix that, and I see what I can do. I move things around like. That there we cannot work with that, so maybe I can move this a little bit to the back, but you see the kick starts appearing here, like now when I move this a little bit to the back. So and there's gonna be artifacts there. So of course, one of the things that I can do there is go back to open the playlist and see if there is a better performance of that particular fill. So let's make a region here. The problem region, it's here. You know, I remember this session so much. It was like my first session after the quarantine ended, literally. And the drummer, and I was like talking with the drummer before the session started, and he was like, man, I spent all my quarantine practicing this song. I'm gonna nail it. And I was like, oh, very enthusiastic. and then I was like, I mean, you know, little tears were running through my eyes. I was like,
and then I was like 10 hours of editing.
Yeah, no, you will see what I did in the end. I will show you after you do your work. I will show you how I edited this song, because it's not exactly how I'm editing it now. I'm showing you like a general principle, but I did something different, and I'll show you after you do your work. So because I want you to explore it. So I mean, one of the things that's why I'm gonna send you all the takes, and that's why I want you to get in the habit of putting one take on top of the other. And that's really important because we need to have this. We need to have it ready in any moment. So I made a selection here. Like I told you, I have the habit of coloring things in green, in red. Sorry. Sorry, I just for a second. Color, yeah, color palette. So I'm gonna paint this red because there was a big problem there. Oh, sorry. So you see, I accidentally lost myself, but I know where I am because I just painted that red. Like, it's really important to know where you are, because that thing that just happened to me happens a lot. So okay, obviously I need to find a better take and sort it out. I will do that, but I'm not gonna do it right now. By the way, I just decided that I'm going to stay with drums today because there is little time, and there is something really important that I want to tell you, and that's fine. I think that we can either choose to book a second session before next week, or wait till next week, and next week I do the rest of the song. And maybe you can start working on the drums and come to me with questions next week, and then we see bass and guitars. Maybe something like that. But let's continue and see where the wind takes us. I really care right now to do two things. One of them is to fix a problem by bringing another piece of the drums from another part. And the other thing I care to do is to show you something really important that actually should precede, I should have done before I even started. I just remember it, and I'll show it to you in a minute. I'm looking for another problem here. Let me go to the next section. Yeah, we were trying to fix this. Remember, we were trying to fix this a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go and search for that same moment in somewhere else in the song. We tried just because we want to fix it like that. So we have that location, we know where it is. So I know the song. There is this drop down here, blah, blah, blah. And then we go back to the hi-hat moment, I remember. So here. Yeah, this is not going to be where I need to be. Let's go here. This is a back to the hi-hat. Yeah, this, like, you see what's happening there? What's happening there, guys? It's a clear... Wait. This is all the hi-hat moment. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to this right moment and tell you something here. Yeah, you see everything that is happening there. It's a clear indication that the algorithm, the way I set up Beat Detective, was not correct for that moment. So I'm gonna go back to the right. Yeah, like from here, and I'm going to kind of get rid of everything I did. Something like that. So I'm gonna... This happens a lot, and I do it a lot. When you hear that there is something really criminal, that it just doesn't make sense, it means that there is something with how the algorithm is working there, and it's just not working for you, and you need to redo it. So, boom, you delete that segment. Okay, this is a great place to be, because do you guys remember what we're looking for is this tura, tura, tura. So you need to have the memory of remembering what you're looking for and the abstraction to think what little piece of drums I can take from there that is going to help me here. And maybe it can be that it's not the same part at all. You need, what we're looking for is this tura. So I'm going to make another marker here, so now I know where I was, and I'm going to go to the marker that I had before. I remind you guys, do you remember how to jump between markers? I have said this in the past to you, I remember, but maybe you forgot. Do you remember how to jump fast between markers? Yeah, look. You see my... Artemi, you remember? I couldn't hear you. Well, maybe you're not there. Okay. So how to jump fast between markers? Numpad. Yeah, got it. So wait, I cannot see because of the text. You have the numpad, and the numpad has the key button, point. Like there is a point there.
Mm-hmm.
Delete. So if you press point, the number of the marker, and then point again, it will take you there. That's a super amazing thing of Pro Tools. So if I go like, for example, if I go 0.7 point, it take me to marker 7. 0.8 point, it take me to marker 8. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So if I go 0.1 point, it take me to marker 1. 0.7 point, I'm in marker 7. So great. Now I'm in marker 7. What was I looking for? Huh?
Sorry, the joke that I recently bought the keyboard without a numpad.
And Ilya doesn't use this function, and I'm always so angry at him. He's always like, he always buys keyboards without numpad, and I'm like, bro, like you don't use the markers in Pro Tools, really. No, I don't need it. Okay, but also punch in recording in Pro Tools is 3 in the numpad. It's super important. So anyways, what I was looking for this tura. So, and you see, like, and it did, I'm gonna take that tura from another part, and it's not even the same part. I'm gonna take it from this bifka that he made there, which was tura, tura. So let's see the best one. Let me just make a little bit of a zoom out here, like a bit of a different zoom of... so this one is quite good, because you know why it's so good? Because this one, when things are too close to each other, it's impossible to fix it. It's really impossible. But when things are too far away, it's a piece of cake. You understand what I mean there? This is important, what I just said, and it's really important. Do you understand what I mean?
Can you repeat?
When things, if I'm trying to modify the position of two hits, if the hits are closer to each other than what they should be, it's almost impossible to fix. You will for sure get an artifact. But when they're further apart, it's absolutely a piece of cake to fix, because I have like a kind of like a piece of reality there that I can use, and I really mean using the word reality, that I can use to fake something. So
because of sustain.
Because of the sustain, exactly. If not, you're going to get a problem. So in here, I can artificially replace this quickly, and now I have this tura that is really good. Great. And now I can take this thing, which was not even the same part that it was performed there, go back to marker 7. Now look, I guess that here comes another thought of a very important thing that you need to master, which is some sort of grid mode. Because one of the reasons why I feel so uncomfortable to move around, and I just don't know how Ableton works in that sense, is that I feel confident that I can just copy this. Look at this. I can go to location 7, point. I'm in location 7. If I stand here and I paste, that's it. It's going to be without a doubt in the correct place because I'm working in grid mode. If I wouldn't be working in grid mode, and then I would be shitting my pants all the time, but I'm not. So great. There you go. Like, boom, fixed. And now, of course, I can just pull this back a little bit and see if it works. Pull this back a little bit and see if it works. And now let's see if I fixed it. Yeah, I mean, of course it can be better, but for the demonstration, it works. Like, I healed the problem that was not possible to heal. So it is obvious that, man, this is a video game. And and now that we're in between boys and I can make this joke like that and whatever, if somebody else watching the future this and wants to criticize me for this, if you cannot edit it, you're a pussy. Literally. Like, if you say I cannot edit it, you're being a pussy. Like, of course you can edit it. 100%. Everything can be editable. I have never in my career in the last 10 years been in a situation which is like, this is impossible to edit, we need to re-record it. Never. It always found a way. It's just like sometimes you're going to have to maybe time stretch something. You can do that too. You can activate elastic audio and just maybe stretch some Tarielki and put it there like some little weird like patch, that you use to fix something. You will always be able to edit things 100%. If you record 3 takes of everything. This is a really important tip. That's why usually what happens in my sessions is like there are 2 types of sessions, kind of. The interesting ones and the painful ones. So the interesting ones are just like the musician teaches you stuff and you learn and you're having a blast. The painful ones is just like you see from the first second of the recording that this guy sucks and that there is no human way in the universe that this person is going to give you a good performance. He's going to want to try. He's going to tell you, let me make 10 takes of this, and they are all going to suck and they're all going to become worse as he plays because he's going to become more tired and more frustrated. So when I see that the drummer sucks, I just come to him and say, man, give me 4 takes of this and go home and I'll do the rest, because I'm really, it's a waste of everybody's time and money to try to get a good performance from that guy. It's like me standing in the General Assembly of Russia and pretending that if you give me like 3 chances, I'm going to give a great speech in Russian, like I'm not going to make it, never. So if you're going to want to make a speech of mine in Russian that sounds great, I'm going to have to record all the possible words and then you will edit that thing, whatever, if something like that is even possible. So anyways, you will notice that one of the other strategies that I have here, and I'm kind of happy that we stayed on drums only today, like that's okay. I'm really happy with that. I personally needed to go through this with you because I want to give you the baton of sound engineer for the future, and I know we have discussed editing together, but we have never sat down for more than one session and thought about this with all the depth that it requires. So if we were going to cross our paths, we had to do this. So the other thing that you will notice is like the way this session went is like I saw that the guy doesn't place well. I kind of like just made him record, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes, and then I told him to go home. Thanks a lot. That's it. Bye. The other thing that you will see that I did was that there are these difficult parts that are more difficult for them. And then I just put him the metronome and I just make them play that part. You see, like, we obviously had problems with this syncopation, tu-ra, tu-tu-ta, ta. So I just went and said, man, I'm going to put you the click, and just played me that part like a million times. And so he did. And I guess that here we were focused on that zbivka, you see? Did you remember the one that was terrible? It was like obvious that he couldn't play it, and Let's see what, and you see, look at this, what happened here. Like one of the things that I chose came from this. You see, like this to-da, like maybe in all the song I use this to-da all the time because it's the only one that is ideal. You hear it, right?
Yeah.
It's the only one that is ideal, and you see that's why it's colored differently than the rest. That was so funny. I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but it was just like he counted and he started like 1 second before he should have, Bam. So, okay, if I keep going, well, I mean, you get my point. Like, I got him to perform some parts outside because one of the things that happens too is that when the musician is bad, they start getting into this mental thing, which is like the problem is the monitoring, or the problem is that the minus is not correct. And the problem, man, it's like a drummer that is good can play this with the hands on the back, turning back to the drum kit and without hearing anything. So, okay. I told you that there was a pre-step.
Sorry. Do we have a time for a small conversation about
of course.
This and
Yes.
the whole career?
Yes.
So, at some point, you can decide for yourself that you don't want to work with bad musicians because you wanna grow in your skills, and it's impossible with bad musicians because
Yes.
you have to spend time for this mechanical work of fixing bad musicians. For sure, you will lose some money, but maybe in future you will become really better than now. So what do you think about this? And have you ever thought about this?
Yes, of course I have thought a lot about it. And there is one more dimension to what you're saying, which is like bad clients make bad records, and then it means that your records sound bad, and then it means that your reputation is bad. But my conclusion, and look, and I really, you should ask this question to Ilya too. It's important that you ask this question, the same question, and that you compare our answers, because it's very likely that our answers will be different, or it's very likely that our answers will be the same. And also drop this question to Artyom Matuni. You're having lectures with Artyom Matuni or not?
No.
Perhaps would be cool if he's teaching live sound now, and he's seeing it more deeply than Ilya. So I recommend you to go to those lectures. They're happening on Wednesdays. Like today, he had it.
Depot?
It's no. It's second year. It's just like you don't see this lecture because you already have grades for this. But you can go and check it out. I really recommend it because
we don't have it in our schedule.
I understand. It's like it happens every Wednesday before post-production. So he will receive you with joy, and you can see it with him. And also, he's teaching the same predmet in the DPO. So if you want to see this in the night, you can go and see it in the night too.
Nice.
So just ask me for more info if you want it. So, okay, let me tell you my opinion about what you just said. My solution was to become so fast that this doesn't affect me in terms of my personal development. I mean that for me, like editing the song, really, to edit the song, it took me like 30 minutes and the song was edited, because I'm at that level of speed. But the answer to that, bro, is that in Russia, you don't have a choice. That's what I think how it is, man. Like, you just don't have a choice. Like, in here, the level of the scene is very poor. And even at the highest levels, it is very poor. And so,
even if you work only in, how it's called?
No, I mean, I think that when you are in the Ilya Lukashov, level of fame, that he has Dr. Head sponsorship and that he works with termites. Like, I mean, he works with session drummers, and those session drummers are really good, and he has everything really tracked really well. What I think.
So you think the career of Ilya Lukashov has something of random chance? So you can't develop this level of Ilya Lukashov?
No, it's happening to me nowadays. I mean, this recording was in 2020. It was like 2 years ago. But that was the last recording I had of that type. I don't have this type of recordings anymore. It's not because I'm choosing. It's because my price is so high right now. I mean, it's not so high, but my price is higher than before. And so there is a filter. Right now there is a band that Anton Verendiakin is recording instead of me. Because they came to me and I was like 3,000 rolls per hour. And they told me, no, we cannot pay. And I was like, okay, here is Anton's contact. And usually those bands are worst because they are not so dedicated. The people who are more dedicated, they know that coming to a person who has more experience makes sense. And so then you get better bands. It's like a Darwinistic thing, you know. You get better bands because you're already expensive, and the better bands play better. But on the other hand, bro, like one of the reasons why Ilya, and I say this in a positive way, I'm talking about Ilya Lukashov. One of the reasons Ilya Lukashov is in the position where he is because he's very disagreeable. And do you know what that means?
No, explain.
I mean that he's really like, if he doesn't like you, he sends you to fuck off.
Yeah.
And I am the opposite. I'm very agreeable. And so that's really bad for me because that means that my road it's twice more labor intensive than his. So I think that the truth sits a little bit in between both Ilya and me. Like, you have to be humble enough like to understand that you are nobody right now and that you need to work a lot in order for you to become somebody. But you also need to understand, and I tell you this as your friend and as your kind of like partner in your development, you also have to value yourself more than what I used to value myself. Nowadays I value myself quite highly, and if you don't offer me the right money, I tell you, go fuck yourself. You know, I also kind of have that luxury, but I should have started doing that earlier. You see?
Yeah, I understand.
So
actually, it will be hard to like
You
in
will see
Russia,
it.
you mean, but it's possible.
But also it depends a lot on what's your level of desperation. You know, like I decided to become a father 3 years ago.
Yeah, I understand.
so
I understand all the another factors like money and
if you can say no, you know.
personal development. But yeah,
But I
understand.
was supporting my wife for the last 7 years or something, so I was never in a capacity where I could say no. And so that's why I had to eat a lot of shit, you know, and it was terrible. But anyways, like
Yeah,
the
I
truth
understand.
is in between Ilya Lukashov and me. You should ask this question to Ilya. The summary of my answer is there is this work hard and work smart. The truth is in between those two concepts. Yeah, but I of course will tell you work hard and get exposed to things that are terrible for you. For example, in between us, and I would happily tell this to Denis Siganov if I see him, and I'm gonna say something about Denis Siganov, and I don't mean to be a dick. I just, this is my opinion. I once called him to offer him the position of teaching Reaper in the school, and he just asked me, I don't know, depends on how much you pay me. And I was like, I don't want to work with you, period. Like, who are you to tell me that, man? You just said you were a student like 5 minutes ago. And it just pisses me off. Personally, I'm like that. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, I don't care about, what are you going to tell me that you're going to think about it, man? Are you crazy? Like, you just...
I think that he's really interested in only mixing and mastering. And that's why
I don't
he asked.
care.
He's not interested in giving the classes, so that's why.
Yeah,
he
well,
asked.
okay, he can afford it. You see, like, he can afford it.
Yeah.
But this turns off people. Like,
Yeah,
it
sure,
can
I
turn off
understand.
people.
Yeah.
Like I mean, if I ask the same question to Ilya, and Ilya Marvel tells me, man, I'm already a fully formed adult with a wife, you know, the family depends on me, I'm building a house, if you don't pay me well, I will not do it. I'm like, okay, but everybody has to understand their position in the scene. Like, I want to focus on playing music, man, and I'm just running a bachelor's. Like, we all have to adapt. Like, I understand that his financial situation is privileged in some way. I mean, in the sense that he can afford to say no, and that's great. And I'm telling you something, most likely he will get further than me because of that attitude. You see it, and it's positive. So, but it has its nuances. It can also close your doors. It's a complicated question, you know.
Yeah, that's actually why I asked. Is
Yeah,
it
I understand.
possible?
I understand.
Yeah.
I think Zemfira did this to me in a point when I asked her more money, you know. And Zemfira just was like, who are you to ask me this money? And the father of Anya because of course when I discussed the situation with the father of Anya, he was like, man, you made a mistake. You cannot tell to Zemfira how much she should pay you. And he was right. And I lost maybe one of the biggest jobs I ever had in my life, because I kind of like aimed higher than what I was in that moment. And that was a mistake. And maybe I would have stayed touring with Zemfira a couple of years more and experienced some new things that would have been cool. But I went to Zemfira and I told her, this is my price, pay me my price. And she was like, go fuck yourself. And so, yeah, we need to calibrate well where we are in our moment, you know. And I really beg you, please, as friends, if you want to discuss this with Denise, please let me discuss it with him first, because I love him and I don't want him to hear this from somebody else that is not me.
Yeah,
you know.
sure.
Because I love him a lot and I really want him to be successful. But for me, that was a little bit like, oh, come on, man, like really, like, do I have
But
to?
how do you expect the right answer for you personally?
The right answer to this is something
If
kind
it's
of
no.
like, for example, hey man, listen, that sounds like a great opportunity. I'm just not so interested in teaching right now. I mean, there is a way to engage with this, which is it's less cocky.
Yeah, so you respect more dedication than.
Of course, and also understanding of your position. It's like, wow, man, that's really cool. I'm just kind of more interested in mixing. No, I'm actually, you know, I think in that case, got it in 4K. Yeah, I'm the most stupid guy. I mean, I stream my passports, my passwords, my open thoughts. Like, this is gonna be bad, man. What's the name? I think, Andriuja, that there is, in my opinion, there is kind of only one correct answer there. In the moment where you guys are, the only correct answer is to go and do everything that comes to your way, because you never know. Maybe one of the guys that you're teaching will give you a 300,000 ruble project for mixing, and you just close yourself that opportunity because what? You don't want to spend 3 hours every week just coming to the school and talking about your favorite program. You see what I mean? Like, if Ilya Lukashov tells me no, I'm like, well, of course, man. Like, you have a lot of shit going on there. Fair enough, you know. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, that thing, and look, for example, I mixed in the summer, I mixed Alice's song. You know Alice from the second year?
Nope.
Well, it's
Yeah.
one of the students. Like, it's one of the students. Like, for example,
Okay. I
I used to have a position that I don't mix material of the students. It used to be my position, and I changed this position recently because of all the reasons. So Alice came to me, do you want to mix the song? I was like, yeah. I mixed that song and it ended, and now one band, which is one of the biggest like emerging bands right now, heard that mix and they want to produce a 1,5 million ruble record with me. Like, and the budget is 1.5 million. And if I would have be like, I'm too huge to mix you, kid, you know, I that opportunity will not open. So I don't know. That's well, I mean, we went back and forth to many places. The key here is to understand where you are, respect to the others, and in respect to the others, and to find a balance between working smart and hard, and a balance between agreeableness and disagreeableness. And anyways, okay, that kind of answers the question.
Yeah,
I think.
thank you. Sure.
Yeah, and it's really important. And I guess that it's also, sorry to add one more thought here, genre connected. It's also connected to genres, because I was always interested in the rock world. And in the rock world, this problem of performance is really key. Like in the pop world, like you see, like a lot of things are generated in the computer and they're kind of like produced, and it's not like depending on the performance. And if the vocalist is not so great, you just can auto-tune the hell out of it and it's gonna work. So anyways, okay, there is one thing I wanted to tell you more quickly that I find really important about my workflow that I want to share with you. So I'm gonna save this where it is, where we left it, and I'm gonna open project, and I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna go to the previous version where I was, and there's just one little comment I want to tell you that I think is a good habit that I want you to get. Okay. So this is about comping. You know what I mean when I say comping?
Yeah.
Yeah, comping, like choosing takes. Like, I mean, one of the things that you're going to have to do to edit this, because here I have already selected the best take, but you are not going to know which one is the best take in the thing that I'm going to send you. So you're going to have to audition all the takes and make a choice of which one is the best take. Like, I'm really telling you, this project that I'm sending to you of editing this one song, it's going to take you something like 20 hours of work, minimum. So be ready for it. I'm not going to put you such a fast deadline. I'll give you time to do it. But it's going to take you like some 20 hours of work when you sum it all together. Or more, because it will take your time. So anyways, what I recommend you to do comping of takes is to use the following kind of strategy. I do it like this. I go by sections because your mind cannot process such a long piece of musical information. So you're going to have to make like a little bit of a narrowing down. So I go and I make like, let's see when the drums change. So you can see here, you're going to have to become really fast at looking at where things change. Like, so this is only one pattern and it ends here. Obviously. Why do I know? Because, well, look at this hole here. So, okay, let me just go to the end of pattern 1 and listen to it. Let's say that I'd listened to it and I thought, is that a perfect take? And I go like, I load the... By the way, Pro Tools has a take rating button, which it's ideal if you use the take rating. It's awesome if you use the take rating. I didn't develop the workflow around it. Because when you use the take rating function of Pro Tools, if I'm not mistaken, let me see, where is it? Like, there is a place here where you can see like only rate 5 takes. Let me just give me a second to. I just don't. If you guys know how to do that, let me know. But I just need a minute, and I will remember, because I don't use that function. I don't know it so well. Wait. Let me see other playlists. No. Wait. Rating. No. Wait. Let me just Google one second here, because now I want to see it.
Maybe it's in the View tab.
In the what?
View tab. At the top. Yeah.
Let's see it. Or maybe let me just write here the word rating. Rating 5. No, this is to give the rating. Clip. Well, at least one of the things that we got here is that it's showing you the rating, you see, of this take, like rating 5, you see it. But I really remember, like, there is a way. Let me just see quickly if I get there, like, filter songs, filter takes by rating Pro Tools. Like, there is a way, like, show me only rating 5 songs, something like that. But I don't remember. Making takes, managing takes and play. Let me see here. Clip rating. Let me just see if I find that now, but I don't remember. Because I really don't use that function, and I should. But how to rate, display ratings. You will then see final words. Okay, whatever. Let's figure it out later. My scheme is a little bit different. It's like I heard this take, and I go here and I load and I go like color palette, and I said, was that a great take? No, it's red. Okay, next. Let's hear the next one. So let's hear the next one. Great. And by the way, look, I move down and make cuts. You see, like, so I have the same size regions, right? Like tick 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 tick. And so then I'm like, next take. Was it the best one in the world? No. But was it terrible? No. Okay, it's a yellow one, and a green one if it's a great one. So this is super useful just to, because I mean, you will hear everything, color it in the color that you think it is, and then later you will just use all the greens. You see, that's why my main take there is colored green, because it means that I already filtered this, I already made that decision, and then that really will help me a lot, because you're also going to find yourself in a situation which is like, you hear this Kusochek of take, and then you're like, okay, let's go. And let's stand here, and maybe you will figure out that this particular Zbivka was amazing, so it's green, but the rest is red. So you have a very visual and clear way, you know, to see like, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. So you're gonna have to do take comping. So what's going to happen to you again is that you're going to receive all these tracks and you're going to load them there and you're going to have to build playlists. You're going to have to figure out. There is a really easy way to figure out what I'm telling you, but I want you to stumble upon this and to hit yourself in the head. And next week when we find each other, you're going to maybe tell me, man, like, at least try to, from here to next week, to do the montage of the takes of the tracks, that you have all the tracks in one project. You know, that would be really important. So when we meet in the next session, we can actually discuss the problems that you found and what was hard. You can share me your screen and we can see what's up, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Is this lecture going to be online forever? I'm okay for it, of course, but it depends on you. I just want to make a plan of my life. Like, should we always keep it online, or let's do this? It's going to be by default online. If you don't want that, then tell me.
Yeah, sure. Except some special cases.
So I will stop asking you. It stays online until you tell me the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unless we go to